All right. We got any more outside? All right, brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Welcome to Adobe's Customer Experience Center, to those in the room, and welcome to many of you online as well. We're thrilled to have you all here today to speak about Adobe, Acrobat, and AI, and really the future of Acrobat and AI. It's a really exciting time for us at Adobe, and we're really on this journey at the moment. Acrobat in itself is a product that's been around unbelievably for 30 years. Over 400 billion PDFs are opened every single year, which is just a phenomenal number. And as we all know, those PDFs contain everything from invoice data, contract data, and the white papers. They basically contain an incredible level of insight. And what we're seeing is this transition and journey away from Acrobat and PDF being a place where you consume information to a place that you go for research, development, and creation. So it's moving from the end of a workflow perhaps to the start of a workflow. And this becomes even more powerful when we consider AI around that. And really today, it's great to have everyone here in the room, because we are going to talk a little bit around industry insights and what we're seeing in terms of AI. We're going to also be talking about how the product lines up to that. And most importantly, we're going to have some customers join us on stage, and our CFO, Mikkel, as well, to talk a little bit about how AI is being launched in their business, any hurdles, any learnings, any challenges, and really what they see as success in the next 12 months. And we'll finish it off with a drinks reception as well. I've realized the slides haven't advanced. Was I meant to do that? Sorry. Here we go. So yes, welcome. And I've just been through the agenda. So yeah, keynote. We'll have the product team speak around some of our product. We've got the customer panel, and then, as I say, we've got time at the end for networking, drinks, questions, and we've also got some demo booths out there as well. So we can take anything from a technical question all the way through to a commercial one. All right, so without further ado, I will pass over to Michael Nutley from London Research, who'll be speaking around some AI insights. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom, and hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. That's a much younger, more fresh-faced chap than I saw in the mirror this morning. My name's Michael Nutley, as you already know. I'm senior writer at London Research, which is a small independent research company. I've been talking, writing, and thinking, not necessarily in that order, about digital media for about 25 years. First as editor of New Media Age, which some people with hair the color of mine may remember. And after that, as editor of Adobe's CMO.com website in Europe, and most recently at London Research. And it's with my London Research hat on that I'm here to talk to you today. I'm going to cover off some key trends in digital transformation, enterprise AI adoption, based on some research that we did for Adobe a little while ago. Talk a bit about what people are looking for in AI from their AI business users. And then a little bit about kind of the key lessons that emerged from the research for leaders. So yeah, and this is the document that we're going to be talking about, unlocking the value of generative AI in document management. Just to run through the methodology very quickly, survey of 450 C-level executives across UK, France, and Germany, and the results were used to create 3 separate data sets to represent the different views of the people involved. There we go, 3 different colors, so everybody knew what was going on. So yeah, the what we call digital vision leaders, so CIOs, CTOs, CDOs, people the people who are sort of leading advocates at board level of AI. Functional business leaders, so people who are heads of departments, sales, marketing, HR, whatever, the people who are at the front end of the business. And then IT specialists view, so the people who are actually involved in putting this stuff into place for the organization. And we did some pre-survey work, talking to some individuals, digital vision leaders, and these are their key priorities: maximizing long-term investments, minimizing time to ROI, improving customer and employee experience, and strategically embracing new technologies. No real surprises there for anyone. And we're going to look today mainly at the attitudes of functional business leaders, because they're generally one of the key themes that emerged out of the research is that they're people who are most cautious, most circumspect, shall we say, rather than cautious about the adoption of AI. They're not sort of board level evangelists, and they're not the kind of the IT people who are close to the technology and have perhaps the most realistic view of it. But they are the people who have to be convinced to use it, and whose commitment to using it will be fundamental to its success in the business. And most of the functional business leaders who replied to our survey said that echoed the findings of the pre-survey research. The drive to reduce costs and increase productivity are the 2 things having the biggest impact on their organizations. So then we asked them, what are the priority areas for their organizations? What are the things that they're really thinking about? This is split by IT versus non-IT respondents, and you can see that security and digital transformation are the 2 biggest priorities for IT people. Security and customer engagement are the joint highest priorities for non-IT people. I think we'll come on to this in a minute, but security, this emphasis on security across the organization again is another of the key themes of the research. Are these objectives more important than they were a year ago? This is interesting, I thought, when we were sort of going through the data. 3/4 of IT staff say security is more important than it was a year ago, and heading sort of just a bit north of 50% of the rest of the organization. And this isn't surprising. According to IBM's most recent figures on cost of data breaches, the average global cost of a data breach in 2025, $4.4 million, and 82% of data breaches in 2024 involved cloud data. This will become apparent. This concern will become more apparent in a moment. So we see across, as I say, across the business a desire for greater productivity, lower cost, with a concern, a big concern about security. Do our respondents think that AI is the solution to these problems? Spoilers, they do. And they're pretty bullish about it. This is actually functional business leaders. So as I say, the most circumspect of our 3 groups. And what we're seeing is that they expect, over half of them would expect to see, perhaps a better phrasing, would expect to see increased productivity resulting from the use of AI, and just under half reduced costs. And the kind of degree of improved productivity is quite striking. So, there's over half said it could save them a day or a week or more. That's per employee. That's not per department. So that's significant. The people who don't think it's going to deliver very much, is 10%. This is really quite striking, the expectation that people have. And personally, they're enthusiastic. As you see there, 32% very positive about about the effect that AI would have on their work life. 45% somewhat positive. So we're seeing quite high levels of enthusiasm in the most circumspect group. But here's the paradox. Despite this, the majority of organizations are either not yet using AI or still only experimenting with it. As you see there, digital vision leaders say, only 19% say that AI is business as usual. 26% say it's operationalized. But the vast majority of in both groups are either only experimenting or not even at that point. So there's quite a disjunct between the appetite for AI and its adoption. And this is mainly to do with organizational caution. These are there's more than 4 out of 5, just under 4 out of 5. No, just over. Say that their organization is either very cautious or somewhat cautious in its approach to AI. So, what's the holdup? What are these concerns based in? As you can see, the principal reasons are fears around security of content and documents, fears around the security of the cloud. Again, so that's data breaches and cloud-related data breaches very strongly. Then, concerns slightly behind that, fears around ethics and legalities, and then sort of much more practical things. People don't know what AI might be all about. They're not aware enough, or they think that there's not enough awareness of the technology. There's a sense that they're not properly prepared for it, with lack of training, and there's not a budget for it. So, the caution appears to run throughout the organization. If you're worried there's not enough budget, that suggests a higher level concern than just the functional business leaders. Yeah, and this just confirms, what we were saying about the people who are at the delivery end of this. 2 out of 5 IT respondents said that fears around the security of content was a barrier. Over a third cite fears around security of the cloud. So what does this mean for leaders? We concluded that there are 4 things really that leaders need to be thinking about going forward. What AI does, what it doesn't do, and perhaps just as importantly, how it does what it does. I think there's a sort of a sense with all new technologies that that they're a panacea, that they can do everything. You know, they look like a hammer and every problem looks like a nail. I think, you know, we need to be smarter than that. People, at least right now, you know, as things develop, that'll change. But right now, we need to be thinking about where AI sits best in the workflow. The great example of this, I was interviewing the head of a virtual production studio a little while ago. For those of you not familiar with virtual production, do people know what virtual production is? It's something, you will have come across it if you've seen The Mandalorian. They shot The Mandalorian against rather than using green screen, they shot it against a computer, or not all of it clearly, but lots of it against a computer-generated backdrop, because they found all the people in The Mandalorian had very shiny armor, and the green was reflecting in their shiny armor as they stood in front of the green screen. And it took ages in post to clean that all up. They started working in front of a CGI backdrop. And this has been adopted by ad production agencies because it's cheaper, it's more controllable, and it gives them greater flexibility. What this particular agency found was that rather than using AI to construct the backdrops, when particularly still shoots, it was more efficient to use AI to find images to use as backdrops. So the AI input was the kind of the search was more effective as a search tool, more efficient than using it to generate backdrops. Again, this will change, but that's about sort of thinking about where in the workflow different technologies function best. Then security. What are people actually worrying about when they're worrying about security? To paraphrase Raymond Carver. According to Gartner earlier this year, malicious hacks against enterprise AI are still uncommon, while incidents of unconstrained harmful chatbots are well documented and internal oversharing data compromises are prevalent. So what we're really seeing is not a new set of security, or we seem to be seeing is not a new set of security concerns yet, but the same security concerns being amplified by the use of AI. That means data governance. How are you protecting your data? How are you using it? How are you managing it? And how are you making sure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands? So it becomes a data governance issue rather than specifically an AI issue. The same Gartner report coins an exciting new acronym, because obviously we haven't got enough of those. TRISM. Remember where you heard it first. Trust, risk, and security management. I think they fudged that a bit, I'll be honest with you. And they talk about at the rise of AI, trust, risk, and security management as a layer that's developing to protect organizations using AI, to ensure AI actions align with organizational intent, and to keep AI systems secure. Again, as I say, governance, the kind of governance that most people, still don't have, around their data. According to IBM, 63% of organizations don't have AI governance policies in place. They don't necessarily know how many different AIs their organization is using. I think this will be something the speakers will pick up in the session later. But that's a big kind of foundational gap that needs to be filled. And then finally, how the business needs to change to accommodate AI. So basically a cultural thing. We all know that culture and technology are equally important in business change. But it's still a mistake that that people make. They think we'll buy the best, shiniest technology, and they forget that it won't do any good if people don't want to use it, or don't know how to use it, or are scared of using it. So the organization itself needs to be digitally transformed. This is where we've got to in thinking about digital transformation, is that it's not a question of being digitally transformed. It's in the sense that you've digitized all your processes and everything. It's a question of being transformed to the point where you are digitally agile, that you can respond quickly and kind of painlessly to new technologies, new business situations. And AI is just another example of that. You need to be in a place where you can take these technologies on board quickly, effectively, painlessly. Governance, again, this is a huge element. And then, finally, employee attitudes. We ran a great article back when I was editing CMO.com Europe, under the headline, "Your employees are scared of new technology. They think it's a predator." And this sort of was based on some research by neuroscientists that talks about how, confronted with a threat to livelihood, a potential threat to livelihood, people go into fight or flight mode. They don't think rationally about it. They're because right back there somewhere in the lizard brain, there's no point in thinking rationally if you're confronted with a saber-toothed tiger. It switches that rational, thoughtful, considered part of the brain off and just goes, run. So, when people feel like that, it's very difficult to argue with them. It's very difficult to persuade them. So one of the things that is going to be vital for leaders going forward is understanding how to get their employees out of fight or flight mode and into a sort of a relaxed, considered way of thinking about new technologies. Change management will only become more important as we go forward. That's it from me. Unfortunately, we don't have time for me to take questions now, but if anybody does have anything that they want to ask me about, I'll be around for the drinks, obviously, free drinks, and I'll be happy to chat then. Thank you very much indeed.
Sure. Thank you, Michael, for those great insights and all the data points from the research paper. Incredibly interesting stuff. I think unscripted, but just to kind of add a layer on that in terms of like what I've heard from customers recently. Like I sit with a lot of CTOs, CIOs, and talk about technology and trends. And actually, it reminded me just last week I was with a customer who works in a highly regulated market. And they are, well, he runs IT, and he said, IT in this organization has been the gatekeeper for years. We have to be really careful about what technologies we roll out and really, really conscious of the technology that's used. But AI is completely ubiquitous now. And if we don't provide solutions to those end users and act as an enabler versus a gatekeeper, they will go off and use their own solutions off their own choice and off their own back. Right. And that's when it becomes really unsafe because it's completely unmonitored. There's perhaps shadow IT spend and you completely lose control. So it's really important to think ahead of the curve and become an enabler and make a solid set of investments in trusted providers and provide those solutions to the end users to ultimately provide better employee experience and business benefit. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Thank you. All right, so I guess we'll be adding a bit more context in terms of products and Adobe's AI approach now. So I'll hand over to Sven and Chris, our dream team of product experts. There we go. Thank you.
Bit ahead of schedule. There we go. Get back to the right slides.
Okay, thanks, Tom. We are now on the right slides. Hi, my name is Sven. I'm heading innovation and technology in Central Europe and Eastern Europe. So apologies, I'm not a native speaker. Because of that, I brought Chris with me. So he is definitely. Chris heads our customer success strategic programs for EMEA, and he will help me with the products. So today we will show you how Adobe, with a little help of AI, is changing the future of work. More importantly, we will show you how to move from the AI excitement into real business results. So with that, let's talk about the enterprise AI readiness reality. Before we get into solutions, I would like to recap some numbers from Michael and maybe some additional research that might surprise you. And we heard it already. Companies are really excited about AI, but most of them are not ready yet. So there's a big gap between AI hype and actual use. And our research is just showing that 90% of you are excited about AI, which is great. But only 5% of the actual use of AI is there in traditional business work. So it's a huge gap. And it's even stronger when we look at responsible innovation of AI. So 78% of the companies we were asking are still planning, and only 21 have proper strategies in place already. Maybe this gap is not delay, maybe it's just smart planning. Because we've seen many projects out there which are failing. So take a look at these numbers. 60%, and this is by Gartner, 60% of AI projects will fail by 2026. Looking at agentic AI, it's even higher, it's 90%. So 9 out of 10 projects will fail because of governance gaps, because of AI ethics, because of employee readiness. I like the saber-tooth example, so I will copy that for my further presentations. So 95% of AI initiatives are not struggling because of technology, but with the implementation. And this is exactly the place where maybe companies like Adobe can help you, not why to stop, but where to start. We think there's really a kind of a leadership opportunity here. Most of the decision makers I'm talking of have that FOMO, fear of missing out. So it's like sell me this pen. You know that analogy. It's AI driven, and it's sold. So many usage of AI is just because of AI, not where it makes sense, but there's AI in the title of the project. So we think there's a huge opportunity taking the kind of responsible approach for innovation, especially in the era of AI. And you've seen these numbers here. Only 21%, and this is just as we've seen in the previous slide, has fully developed responsible strategies. So we will come back to that a little bit later. What is responsible and a responsible approach for AI? At Adobe, AI is not new for us. So I'm 25 years with Adobe. I remember 2010 when we introduced Photoshop CS6, pretty long time ago. We had content-aware fill. This was based on deep learning, which is a kind of foundation for many AI technologies we're seeing out there. So it was also a little predecessor to the diffusion image models we're seeing with generative AI out there. We introduced predictive AI with tools like Adobe Analytics. So we really were taking care of predictive AI, generative AI, and also now agentic AI for quite a while. So it's not a technology which came surprisingly to us. The speed was a big surprise, but we've been there, we've planned with that. Talking about AI, and this is also pretty important thing to talk about, we see three different fields. You know, the term AI was coined and invented by Alan Turing 1950. Was first used at Dartmouth College 1953. So AI has been there for a while. Currently, we're talking about predictive AI, generative AI, and agentic AI. And I would even put an additional column in here, AI agents. So there needs to be seen differently than agentic AI. AI agents are your co-pilot, your assistant to do things, human-driven, with human oversight. Agentic AI can act totally without human oversight. And this is an even more dangerous part, looking at security and governance. And this is where we really need to be cautious and think about how we are approaching this technology. So where to start? Let's start with documents. Why not? Because every company has a hidden gem. It's knowledge. The problem with all the knowledge is it's distributed all over the place. So you have your organizational knowledge, your reports, your filings, your millions of documents out there in your SharePoint, in the emails, and so on and so on. You have based it on departmental level, the content expertise unique to each department, and of course your very individual knowledge out there, your papers, which your colleagues and employees created, and the problem is they're currently not really accessible. Of course, we have accessibility out there, but when I'm talking about accessible, they are in your SharePoint, they're kind of unstructured. It's really hard to get the information out of that kind of broad vast of knowledge here. And we think that this is really a great starter point for companies to think about AI projects. So Tom has already mentioned that when he introduced the story of today's session, we have 3 trillion PDFs out there. PDF is the #1 file format on SharePoint, and 40% of Outlook documents are PDF documents. So we have contracts, we have compliance documents, we have financial reports, we have regulatory filings, and so on, all in PDF. And this is growing. So looking at the PDF statistics, and you can also find them on the Adobe website, the number is growing each month. So AI focused on handling these documents and this knowledge can give you real measurable results in a very short time. So it's specific, it's auditable, and it's directly tied to business outcomes. As I mentioned, and as we heard before, you need to have the right approach, how to tackle these projects. And this is where we were always talking about responsible AI. So this is what we are doing internally for our projects. This is what we are offering as a kind of framework for external projects. Research shows, and Michael just put an emphasis on it, that security is the biggest worry stopping AI adoption. And we at Adobe are treating this as a core feature, not as an afterthought, by developing our own thoughts. So talking about responsible AI, we are talking about being accountable, responsible, and transparent. And we were pretty successful with that, but 22 is a pretty outdated number. 29 billion AI assets generated with Adobe Firefly so far without any major incidents. So For us, it's important your data stays your. No unauthorized access, no planning, no training on customer data, and definitely no compromises on data governance. So responsible AI is more than technology, definitely more. It's about AI ethics, and every innovation should start with ethics. It's about how we not only treat data, treat information, but also work with your employees. How to be a role model as a leader, and how to have proper frameworks in place for minimizing risk, for maximizing security, and to have, having said this, I'm giving over to Chris to talk about real solutions to tackle these problems.
Cool. Thanks very much, Sven. Nice numbers. Yeah, interesting. Kind of paints quite a picture that hopefully confirms what you've already seeing in your own industries as well. But with that level set, let's talk about Acrobat Studio. It's our answer to the enterprise AI readiness side of things. So Acrobat Studio is more than just the traditional PDF tool you might be familiar with. It's sort of an integrated workspace designed to bring all of that AI readiness and governance together with the long history of security that we've had in all of our products with our responsible AI approach, governance, transparency, and accountability as well. So really, it addresses 4 key features within Studio where we're looking at this. So Acrobat Pro, the tool you've used for years, know it, love it. We certainly do. But also bringing in AI assistance, so our generative AI tool, looking at large complex documents and things like that. Smart analysis with all the level of detail you need. PDF Spaces, which we launched recently as well, brings that collaborative side of things, that team and departmental knowledge piece together that Sven was talking about. And Adobe Express, right? You've probably heard of Adobe Express, bringing in the controlled workflows, the brand guidelines so you can stay on brand and doing that all while including the enterprise governance around security as well. With that said, let's take a look at a short video to kind of show what AI is.
You open a big document, like a contract, purchase order, or sales agreement. It's long, it's complex, and it contains important information that will drive big decisions. So how you handle it matters. This is where Adobe Acrobat AI Assistant supercharges your process right within Acrobat. It's like having a Q&A conversation with your document, with answers that include precise citations to the source material so you can verify accuracy and get work done faster. Acrobat AI Assistant is purpose-built for documents by the people who invented the PDF. So it goes above and beyond to help you get the important work done with lengthy documents. Spend less time hunting through documents and more time making smart decisions with Acrobat AI Assistant.
So there's a ton of stuff we can do. An AI assistant, we launched it a while ago. It's really grown and come into its own. So this is the responsible AI in action that we really want. That document analysis with clear citations, and the citations are good, right? So like you want to double check the responses you're getting, the insights that you're seeing. Maybe you want to validate that information just for your own peace of mind. But when you're working across, documents that are say 600 pages long, not only validating, but maybe it's surfaced something that's interesting to you that maybe you hadn't thought of and you want to get more information on it. Instead of just having a blank answer, we can bring you directly to that content in the specific document so you can read a bit before, read a bit after, come to better understanding with what you're working with. And, it's like Sven said, we don't train on your data at all, ever, full stop. So your business documents contain PII, confidential data, trade secrets, all of that. And it's really important to keep all of that secure. And we do have active harm prevention and continuous bias monitoring as well, constantly updating to make sure that it's giving the best results. And like I said, those large documents, that includes scanned documents. So we've got a really cool demo that we like to do when we're talking with AI Assistant. We grab a lot of like NASA files from the Apollo days and scan documents and put them in there and kind of look through that. So whether they're scanned documents or digital native documents, we can handle that as well. So looking at this, so that was looking at AI Assistant. Now let's look at PDF Spaces and see what that's all about and how it works up to that departmental functional level with your users.
Introducing Adobe PDF Spaces. Turn your content and goals into action fast. It's an AI-powered knowledge hub where you can bring together everything your team needs to get aligned and move faster. No more scattered files. No more 10-page emails or unnecessary meetings. Start by creating a PDF space. Add up to 100 documents, PDFs, docs, spreadsheets, links, and other files, and let an assistant automatically reveal key takeaways. And with pre-built role-based AI assistants like Analyst, Instructor, or your own personalized assistant, you'll get more relevant insights tailored to your needs in the tone and format that fit how you work. You can chat or ask questions across all your files instead of just one at a time. Your assistant can generate whatever assets you need, tables, presentations, talking points, and more. From there, you can save the most important takeaways into shareable notes, complete with attributions for full context. When you're ready to share, instead of just passing along files, you're sharing the full story. Background, goals, insights, and next steps. From research to collaboration to decision-making, PDF Spaces helps teams organize, explore, and deliver without added meetings or extra work.
If you haven't played with PDF Spaces, I encourage it. We use it all the time now internally. It's really looking at that scale side of things, right? Whether that's your team or your department, 100 documents, up to 600 pages each, mix and match Word, Excel, PowerPoints, text, websites, and of course, PDF as well. It's really, really powerful for what you can do when you collaborate with your teams. And it gives you all those context-aware suggestions. If you choose to use one of the specialized agents, it'll reformat everything based on that. You can also create your own agent, as you just saw there as well. So the custom agents is a lot of fun. We've been using that internally for a number of teams and seeing what we can do with it as well. We also have like a dinner later, and that helped. We used AI to help put some of that theming together as well. So yeah, looking at those documents at scale, and again, this is where the collaboration piece comes in, right? You're sharing this link with your teams, you're organizing, you're planning for that strategy meeting, that earnings report, whatever the case may be. Sorry, yep. But you've seen it before, right? Like, you don't want to have attachments on all your emails and all the different version numbers. What's the latest? Is the content still current? PDF Spaces replaces that chaos for your team. You can have all the latest up-to-date documents in there and share that within that one central workspace. Understand your project goals, keep enterprise security front of mind as well. So where do we see this working best? Like, we're already trialing this internally. Certainly you'll hear about that later from our CFO. But we're using it in a lot of places internally, and a lot of our customers are getting great success with it. So whether that's legal, looking at contract review, regulatory analysis, or finance, looking at earnings reports, which we'll probably talk about a bit later as well. Sales, putting together proposals or reviewing proposals, or maybe it's procurement that has, there's a new contract been put in front of them, and we take the contracts from previous years. What's changed? What's different? What terms are in there? And for documents too, what we'll do is we will see that it's a specific type of document. So we have something called contract intelligence we launched earlier this year, where we'll surface different insights based on the type of document you've also provided as well. And then of course, like using HR, for example, whether that's you're working on a role, you can create a space for that role with the job description, upload those resumes, start asking questions and answers, which one of these people, are suitable or whatever, and align better to those goals. So all of that, again, I know we keep harping on this, but it is really important to us with enterprise governance, controls, and security. And again, never training on your data as well. So beyond that, for those who've also played with Adobe Express, it's a wonderful tool. It's part of Acrobat Studio, brings all the professional content creation into the tool, and you have full brand control. So like if you have brand kits, templates that are approved, you can lock compliance elements and do all that in there as well. Collaborate in real time, of course, it's kind of an expectation, but it works really well. And then more advanced AI integration. So Sven talked earlier about Firefly, which like text to image and doing that. So if you're putting together a new brochure and you want to swap something out, you know that you can get commercial safe imagery to use in those documents as well. And clear AI disclosure too. So, if we're looking at content authenticity, we obviously honor all those settings. If you try and bring in an image that you don't have access to or shouldn't do, we'll flag that up as well. So how are we approaching the innovation now? So I think I'll hand it back over to Sven, actually.
Thanks, Chris. We implemented for ourselves at Adobe, but also as a recommendation for our customers, an Assess Pilot Adopt Monitor framework. So let's start with Assess. It's about your organizational readiness. That means your employee readiness. That means the data structure. It's still that kind of methodology, garbage in, garbage out, also with AI. So you need to have the right data in place to use AI. Then start with the low-hanging fruit. Not try to tackle your complete enterprise with an AI project. Start maybe with social media or just the weekly report to your CFO, where you need to work with hundreds of documents. I'm using it for research papers all the time because I'm really tired of working after hours or reading research papers over the weekend. So I'm using PDF spaces for research papers. So try to find one spot at your company where it can really create a business value. Then do a pilot with that. After you have your readiness, do a pilot with it. Really structured, maybe 4 weeks with a given set of budget and try it out. Is it really solving it? Is AI really the technology to solve it? Or is it just about automation? And this is also pretty common at companies. They're mixing AI solutions with automation solutions. Both is important. And of course, for AI, you need also to have automation to really have it efficient. So try to do a pilot. And then if this pilot is successful, roll it out. Have your team as champions in the company to talk about their approach and their progress. Let them train other employees and then adopt it maybe on a departmental level and later on an enterprise level. And always, and this should be all around here, always monitor your progress carefully. To have a permanent human oversight is really key when you're working with AI. So this is not just theory. This is how we are tackling at Adobe our internal projects since 2019. So in 2019, we introduced our own AI ethics and our approach to responsible innovation. You can read dozens of pages, or just let it summarized by the AI assistant at the Adobe website. And this is how we can also guide you to have successful implementations of AI projects. So our work can also be measured in results. So Chris, can you share some?
Yeah, we've got some interesting reports. Obviously, these are all publicly available as well, and some nice customer stories, and then we'll hear from some customers as well. So looking at Forrester, so one of the actual ROI that we found for these customers was anywhere from 176 to 415%, right? So we know when you're buying a solution or implementing a solution or deploying it across your organization, we already talked about change management, but we also need to talk about what's the value to the business. How much time is it saving you? How much money is it saving you? And time savings is constantly the key thing that comes up for us. Saving hours a week, which we talked about a little bit earlier, and all of that's just achieved through implementing responsible AI with change management, partnering with your account teams to deploy that and do that as well. So results from responsible implementation, not just reckless deployment and putting it out there. So having a plan for that as well. Tata's consultancy as well had a great story too, where they run an event and what they were wanting to do is basically take that content, analyze all those sessions, and they were doing that by taking all the audio transcripts, bringing that into AI Assistant, summarizing it, putting all that content together, and having the summaries and follow-ups sent out to all of their attendees in a short period of time after those sessions. So that way, as those attendees go to lunch or the dinner with their colleagues, if they didn't attend that session, they can at least get the email brief to see what was talked about. And when you're having a large conference and you're running multiple sessions, it's a ton of data. And then we got really great feedback from them. They're one of our early adopters for AI Assistant as well. And it's not just consultancy as well, right? So we've actually got a really great public sector story out of Gilbert, Arizona. So they used AI Assistant across 12 departments, serving almost 300,000 residents more effectively. Really, they said it saved them 40 hours per grant analysis, making it about 5 times faster for them. So that means they can get more funding for things like affordable housing, water conservation, community service, all while meeting their tough security standards for doing so as a government organization as well. And they said, don't just take our word for it, but we'd hope you try it out and you feel the same way. But our AI assistant's already been recognized by a number of organizations globally. That's Time, Forrester, Constellation, and many others. So yeah, we really hope you'll check it out and have had a play with it as well. Sven.
So we think this is really a leadership moment where you have the right opportunity out there when you have the right approach for that. So again, recap of the number. 78% emphasize responsible AI in risk management. Only 21% have moved beyond planning to execution. And I think this can be changed. So looking at the next 6 to 12 months out there, maybe just plan beyond just software and service upgrades. Move from that 78% still planning to the 21% executing. Use responsible AI as a kind of competitive advantage out there, because you've heard it, 9 of 10 projects are failing. So it's not really it's not too late to start now. If you have the right responsible approach, it's really the right time. And maybe start with document intelligence. It's, as I mentioned, a low-hanging fruit. The necessity is out there. You can have huge impact on your organization, and it will be also kind of nice thing for employees, not to digging through 100 pages of PDF content just to search for a relevant phrase you need for additional research for products or whatever. So start now. So let's summarize. Path forward. You've seen the research. You've seen our approach for our framework to success. And there are many frameworks out there. And our framework is pretty simplified. But use a framework. Set a goal for your own AI ethics approach and start this at the beginning, not at the end. Try to set some rules, some guidelines out there, how you want to approach that. And maybe just start with the ready-to-go solution like Adobe Acrobat Studio. So the question is not, and we also heard that, whether AI will change your business. It's whether you're starting now or you're being maybe then too late. So as we mentioned it, it's it has been our part to talk about our product innovation and our theoretical thoughts. Now here really from enterprises, how they successfully kind of executing transformation. Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much.
Adobe Acrobat Studio is all new. What can PDF spaces with AI do? Drag in research, drop in thoughts. Watch AI pull insights from your docs. Got the data? Do a recap. Generate a slick graph ASAP. You did your thing. It's time to share. And let your team build from there. Ideate, generate, do it real quick. Let AI assistants do the trick. All wrapped up? Yeah, you won. Do that, doing that, did that, done. Now you can do that with Acrobat. Now you can do that with the all-new Acrobat.
All right. I love that video. Gets me jumping around a bit. So thank you. Yes, I do need that. Thank you, Chris. Otherwise, I will not be able to advance the slides. All right. So I think these intros have caught every single speaker out today. So I'm glad I don't feel alone. All right. So thank you everyone for your attention so far. Oh, did we get to hear the intro again? There we go. So yeah, thank you everyone for your engagement so far. I think obviously we've seen a lot of slides with data, with research, with customer stories. We wanted to make it a little bit more real, right? And I'm really excited to host this panel session with a group of pioneers in the industry who have already made that leap into AI, and to talk a little bit about their learnings, how they're using the technology, hurdles that they've got through, barriers, and just generally where they want to be in the next 12 months or so. So we've got a great panel of speakers. I guess whilst I just find my seat, if we could just do a quick round of introductions across the line, and I'll hand it off to you, Mikhail.
Hey. Hi, everybody. Mikhail Zakarian, I'm the EMEA CFO for Adobe. I've been with the company almost 3 years now, coming from 20 years with a big tech as well elsewhere. And it's AI is for sure like the topic of the day, right? But there is a lot of things going on those days in let's say in the environment and in the world. So very much looking forward to the discussion.
Fantastic.
Hi, everyone. I'm Landy Slattery, Creative Innovation Director at Channel 4, which is a new role that I've been in for the last year, which is all about how we kind of blend creativity and technology together at the company and how we're going to sort of move ourselves forward in this new world.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Artyom Shakhbazyan. I'm from AstraZeneca, it's a pharmaceutical company. And I've been with the company for 6 years now, stepping into the exciting role of AI probably for a little bit over a year. Previously, I've worked a lot in the area of digital innovation, external partnerships, and I've been in the whole innovation industry for over 15 years now. So happy to share some learnings from the company and learn something new from the panelists as well. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. And as we've heard today, IT and just our businesses are generally at the forefront of driving innovation, particularly IT, right? And there's a lot of pressure around how do we take this from experimental stage into production and just wide mass business adoption. We need to drive, there's investment there, right? So where there's investment, we have to see results really quickly in terms of productivity gains, employee gains, and all these sorts of things. So, overall, there's a pressure in businesses to do more with less, drive some modernization, drive efficiency, and drive secure collaboration, right? We can't drop any kind of barriers or we can't let our guard down when it comes to security, right? With all of these sorts of things. So there's a lot of pressure on teams. And I guess I'd like to just ask our panel, first of all, what are your key focus areas around AI at the moment? And how are you responding to these incredible, list of demands? Down the line first. Yes, please, Mikhail.
All right. No, so for me, it's I think we've maxed out the human capabilities, right? That's the way I look at it, right? So in terms of, I look at your phone, how many notifications you have, like you are here, and I'm sure you have a gazillion of email to read, and on and on. So the only way to go forward is from there is to say, okay, how I maneuver within that environment with the right tools, right? Nobody would say you can do financing of a FTSE 100 company on pen and paper. Nobody would do that today. Everybody would use an ERP, Excel, and so on. So I think AI is just one more tool, one more development that really help you to cope with the reality of today, where there is a massive pressure from the environment to be out there, to be what's next, and all those things. And for me, that's the way I perceive that. I really want my team to be what's next and not to be, the things that was good a couple of years ago. So that's what I'm driving hard. And I think AI is a good environment from that.
Great.
Yeah, I think at Channel 4, one of our, we're a public service broadcaster, so one of our key pillars of our sort of brand and our personality is to be innovative. So I think, when it comes to new technology, we would always try and be on the front foot anyway, and trying to be, we love to be the first to things. So we've tried to embrace, as much as we can. I think that it's a very interesting time. I think last year we published a set of values and principles, which I think, as to the great talk earlier, you know, that was one of the recommendations, is just like set your stall out early in terms of how you're going to approach it. I mean, the truth is that none of us really know exactly what's about to happen, and you know, everything that, you know, I think the just before we get into the kind of nuts and bolts, I think to just sort of summarize is that Channel 4 want to be innovative. We've set our stalls out with some very, very key values on how we do things. And then the next thing is to be adaptable. And I think it's adaptability, which is going